Over the past 10 years, downtown St. Louis has undergone a transformation, much of it due to innovations driven by the Missouri and Illinois Departments of Transportation. In 2010, MoDOT and IDOT started construction on the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge and the relocation of I-70, which prepared the way for several other roadway innovations to improve the St. Louis region to the Mississippi riverfront. The spark for the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge began about 30 years ago. In the early 1990s, it was apparent to regional leaders in the St. Louis area that traffic levels between St. Clair County, Illinois, and St. Louis City were rising. Although there were several older bridges in the area that carried traffic across the Mississippi River, there was only one interstate bridge into St. Louis City, the Poplar Street Bridge. The Poplar Street Bridge carried 3 interstates, I-55, I-64, and I-70 from Illinois to St. Louis City, the only U.S. bridge carrying 3 interstates into a city. With traffic levels reaching well over 120,000 vehicles daily, regional leaders evaluated the situation to determine possible solutions. Their concern was that commerce would move to other states due to morning and evening backups running more than 45 minutes, and a significant safety problem spurred by crashes in the daily backups. One of those solutions was constructing a new interstate river bridge to remove one of the interstates from the PSB. The ideal solution, an 8-lane interstate bridge just to the north of downtown St. Louis, was too costly, and Illinois and Missouri started a several-year discussion on various options. Ultimately, in February 2008, the 2 states announced a compromise. The Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge would be constructed in phases. By constructing the project in phases, the states could afford the project while meeting existing needs. The first phase was a 4-lane cable-stayed river bridge wide enough to be restriped to 6 lanes in 15 years, if traffic levels continued to rise as expected. In 25 to 30 years, if traffic levels continued to rise and funding was determined, an additional 4-lane companion bridge would be constructed. That new bridge, south of the existing bridge, would represent the ultimate build-out. However, that compromise had impacts. The new bridge would have connections to the north, but not to the south, as those would be included with the future companion bridge. Until that bridge was constructed, the Stan Musial and the Poplar Street Bridge project would work together as one big interchange to bring traffic into the city. Drivers heading north to the airport and businesses in North City and North County would use the Stan Musial Bridge. Those heading south to South City, I-44, the brewery, or to Cardinal games could use the Poplar Street Bridge. Additional work was needed on the Poplar Street Bridge to help ease the flow of traffic to the south. It had to wait until the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge was completed and open to traffic. Construction on the Stan Musial started in 2010 and continued for 4 years, opening to traffic on February 8, 2014.
We now have the Stan Musial.
Work started that summer on the westbound lanes of the Poplar Street Bridge, constructing a new 2-lane ramp to the south and adding a new driving surface to the westbound bridge. When work was finished, traffic flowing into the city during morning rush periods was significantly improved. This drove several improvements to the Illinois side, to include a new ramp from the Martin Luther King Bridge in downtown St. Louis to help drivers connect to the south on Illinois Route 3. Meanwhile, MoDOT had been working with the City of St. Louis and other parties on improvements around a national monument near the Poplar Street Bridge. The Jefferson National Expansion Memorial, or the Arch, was getting ready to celebrate its 50th anniversary. As part of the effort to bring the Arch grounds closer to the vision of its architect, R.O. Saarinen, the department joined a project to reimagine the entrance to the Arch grounds and to the Arch. The original design made the Arch grounds very accessible to visitors, but cut it and the river off from downtown St. Louis. The project was an effort to reinvigorate the connection between the Arch grounds, the old courthouse, and St. Louis City. The solution, a MoDOT innovation affectionately titled the Park Over the Highway, removed 2 roadways over the interstate and replaced them with a large bridge covered with earth and turned into a park. It connected many key elements of downtown, Keener Plaza, the courthouse, Luther Eli Smith Park, and the Arch grounds, with the Mississippi riverfront. When the Park Over the Highway was completed, it was time for the final improvements to the Poplar Street Bridge to improve traffic flow for Illinois drivers heading home in the evening. This project was a little more complex, adding a new eastbound lane on the bridge between 6th Street in St. Louis and Illinois Route 3 in Illinois, adding a new driving surface, and adding a second lane to the interstate ramp between northbound I-55 and the eastbound bridge. There was a small amount of space between the eastbound and westbound bridges, but not enough to construct a full interstate lane. To do that, MoDOT needed another 9 feet of bridge. To get that extra room, the department turned to innovation yet again, eventually deciding to slide the half-mile bridge 9 feet to the south. After about a year of work on the bridge foundations, lifting the eastbound lanes and placing them on a track system to slide the bridge, crews prepared to move the eastbound lanes of the PSB on March 31, 2018. With the extensive preparation, it took about 3 hours to move the bridge 9 feet to the south. Since then, crews have been working on tying the eastbound and westbound bridges together and filling in between the two bridges with steel and concrete. At this time, the 5th lane on the eastbound bridge is expected to open by the end of the year, completing the necessary work to update the PSB and change how Illinois drivers get into and out of downtown. It has been a long process, but one in which progress has been steadily made over the past 10 years. In that time, downtown St. Louis has been transformed through innovation, with a landmark cable-stayed bridge, the park over the highway near the Arch grounds, and with a new, wider Poplar Street Bridge.